Hello everybody, welcome to this color webinar.
Hello, welcome to the webinar CHI Ionic Fundamentals.
We're gonna compare two of our color lines, the CHI Ionic Cream Color and the CHI Ionic Liquid Shine Hair Color.
My name is Esther Hopstake, Show and Education Director.
My name is Patrick Alle, International Business Development Director. Let's go over the comparison between our wonderful Ionic Cream Color and our Liquid Shine colors.
Yeah, let's start. What is CHI Ionic Shine Shades and what is the cream color? Because they are both Ionic colors in our range. And a lot of questions lately I got, what is exactly the difference? So let us explain.
The biggest difference to start with, it's a liquid. So let me show you the liquid. It's a clear liquid. We bring this in a bottle. You can see the clear Ionic Shine Shades color comes out. You see how clear the color is. So it's a liquid gel color what we apply on the hair.
So when you mix it with the CHI color generator, what happens?
If you mix it with the generator, you will see it becomes creamy, becomes more a gel type of hair color. One of the benefits, because it's a liquid, comparison to the cream color, is that it's especially for long hair applications that you can see the difference in the amount of product what you need.
Yeah, and especially with the nowadays techniques that are very popular, like blending colors and smudging color, the liquids are perfect for that.
Great comparison, but they both have 85% natural ingredients. And that's on the color market, worldwide color market, enormous amount, 85% natural ingredients.
Next to that, it's ammonia free. We use MEA. And it's PPD free.
And a very important ingredient is our ceramic. And ceramic makes sure that we have 100% oxidation of the pigments at the same time, because that's important. 100% oxidation or 80% oxidation, what ammonia colors have, we have 100% oxidation at the same moment. So the yellow, the blue and the red pigment is developing at the same time.
Yeah. And next to that, the Shine Shades have a 5-in-1 system and the cream color has a 3-in-1 system.
The 5-in-1 system, the permanent color, the semi-permanent color, the demi-permanent color, the toner and the treatment, all in one bottle.
Yeah, and with the cream color, you have the permanent color, you have the semi-color, and we have the high lift color.
Talking about the pH of the product, both products have a pH range between 9.8 and 10.4.
Yeah, and one of the main ingredients in both color is aloe vera, for example, that locks in moisture, silk to strengthen the hair, chamomile to soothe the scalp. In the cream color there's non-fat dry milk, that's also very skin conditioning. And it has Brazilian nut oil that makes sure that the color is 30% longer lasting.
Behind us you see the two color wheels, comparison color wheels between the CHI Ionic color, the Shine Shades, and the CHI Ionic Cream color. And you see some differences in numbers, and that has to do with the amount of colors. If you take a look to the Shine Shades, for example, you see a range which is called the silver tones. And we position the silver tones, as you can see here, more between the violet and the blue side. Comparing to the cream color, in the cream color we have, for example, a double ash tone, which we do not have in the liquid tone. So there is a little variety in the different amount of colors.
Of shades.
Shades,
yeah.
The reason why we did it has to do also with your inventory. So on the Shine Shades, on the liquid ones, you need less inventory than you need on the cream colors.
Yeah, correct.
The ingredients of the CHI Ionic colors are
ceramic, the color lock complex, silken oil,
the aloe vera, the chamomile, the non-fat dry milk,
the MEA instead of ammonia, and the TDS instead of PPD. And we're all going to explain it one by one.
Cool. Yeah, so let's take a look to the future and benefits and of course the ingredients of our wonderful products. First of all, ceramic. And ceramic, this is like the salt on your egg. I mean, it gives the taste what you need, but if you use too much, it's too salty. It's not nice anymore. So in our product, what we do, we add a little bit ceramic, and the ceramics make sure that we have 100% oxidation of all the pigments. Silica, alumina and titanium, that's what creates ceramic. It's of course more ingredients, but these are the three most important ones.
Yeah. And those three creates an ionic charge, and that creates far infrared. And what happens then is that the cuticle opens a little, so the product can go inside and develop.
Besides this, it gives you a beautiful radiance. That means you get a beautiful shine, and that's also the reason why you can recognize the CHI Ionic colors, liquid and the cream colors on the street, because it gives you a wonderful reflection of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Color Lock complex is a combination of multiple ingredients.
It contains antioxidants and Brazilian nut oil, and that makes sure that your color is 30% long lasting. And what exactly is in that Color Lock complex? Well, for example, hydrolyzed silk that makes sure that the hair is strengthened, chamomile to soothe the scalp, aloe vera, olive oil, Brazilian nut oil, and an ingredient that's called sodium erythorbate, and that makes sure that the color is stabilized, and it's also an antioxidant.
Very important these days.
Very important.
Stay safe. The silk and the oil, well, we all know, if you work with Farouk for a longer time, you know that most of our products contain silk. And silk contains again 17 of the 19 amino acids which are found in hair. What does silk do? It strengthens your hair. It's even stronger than steel. Very small molecules that can penetrate deeply in the hair to reconstruct, but also to protect. The silk holds up 3 times its own moisture. That means it gives you a beautiful moisturization of the hair. And very important these days, I think we use animal-friendly silk cocoons to create silk.
We sometimes get the question, like they say, well, it's not that animal-friendly to use the silk from the silkworm, but actually the difference is in fashion, you need the silk thread as long as possible to make clothing or scarves or whatever. But we use grind silk, like silk powder, and we use hydrolyzed silk. So it means it doesn't matter if the cocoon is broken. So we use the cocoons that the caterpillar is already out. Those are open, they have a hole in it, and that's what we use for our products. The whole cocoons, they throw in hot boiling water because they need a very, very, very long thread of silk, and that's what is used actually in the fashion industry. But we use the animal-friendly silk.
Exactly.
Olive oil and Brazilian nut oil, very important ingredients because it really makes sure that the hair is hydrated, it's strengthened, and it makes sure that your hair color is 30% longer lasting.
The aloe vera. I've been at Farouk's home one day, and even by his front door there is aloe vera growing. I said, how do you create this? He said, well, I'll show you. So he cut off one of the aloe vera parts, and actually we ate it in the morning for our breakfast, and it feels really moisturized, creamy, silky. And it of course sweet, and it is wonderful in our products. In these days, I'm really happy to tell you because we just got a certificate.
Yeah.
For the organic certificate for the aloe vera, which is really wonderful, and we're really #1 in this hair care. So what does it? Really softens your skin, protects your skin also. Amino acids help you to improve the elasticity of the hair, and of course the strength of the hair, and the moisture in the product. Again, what I said, that helps you to prevent any fading of the color.
Yeah. Our color is ammonia free. This means that we replaced ammonia with monoethynylamine, MEA. And that is actually an ingredient that creates a stable pH in the color.
Yeah, and that's important, and that's totally different than many other manufacturers are doing. So our working pH level is very constant. from moment 1 until moment 35, 30 or 15 if you use demi-color. That's where our pH level stays the same. And that's why it's so important, we're going to talk about it later, that we're going to lock our color and that you rinse it and shampoo it right with our infra shampoo.
Yeah. MEA is the most expensive but also the most safest for your hair and skin. And MEA gives us the possibility to lift color with color. Of course, some people say, yeah, I googled MEA and it's also harmful, just like ammonia. Yes, if you put the same amount of MEA as ammonia in your color, then I don't know if it's that safe. But we use, if you compare the amounts, this much of MEA in our color instead of this much ammonia. So it's perfectly safe.
Yeah, and it's all about safe. And to keep you safe, of course, and the hairdresser safe and the client safe. After your color process, or after your processing time, it's time to start rinsing. And rinsing is really important. Take 5 minutes at least to get rid of the color from the scalp and from the hair before you actually gonna do the shampooing. So rinsing for 5 minutes, and that also takes away the color, but it also means that it takes away the monoethanolamine, the MEA. We shampoo with our CHI Infra shampoo, and shampoo for at least 5 minutes. A shampoo has a pH of 5.5, so brings down the pH already of your color, and it reconstructs and gives shine to your hair. It's a great shampoo, and it's closing the cuticle automatically a little bit. After shampooing, make sure that you towel dry the hair. So it's not just a little bit, no, towel dry the hair. Take your towel, paper towel or cotton towel, and make the hair dry before you actually gonna apply the color lock treatment. And the word actually already tells you the name. It locks in the color. pH of 3.5. Important again, it locks in the color closest to cuticle, and then we can say that we can guarantee 30% longer lasting color surface. So it's a really important surface after your color surface.
Yeah. And it takes around 5 minutes to open the hair, so that's why we say it takes also 5 minutes to close the hair.
Exactly.
Our color is PPD free since 2012, and PPD is a part of a pigment, and the darker the color, the more PPD, because of the more pigments it is. We use TDS instead of PPD. It belongs to the same family. So it means that if you have a client that is very allergic, you also have to do a patch test, for example, to make sure that the client is not also allergic for TDS.
I've been very successful in the salon with it, but also after the patch test. But I had clients coming in allergic from PPD and they were not allergic for TDS. So it can help part of your clients, yes.
Yeah. Let's explain something about the pH level. We will share the pH level of our products as much as possible, but the product needs to contain water, because if there's no water in the product, we cannot determine the pH level. And the pH level of water is 7. Everything below the 7 is acid, and everything above the 7 is more alkaline. The pH level of our hair and skin is?
5.
Correct.
And I will remember 5 because you know, your skin is always closed. Otherwise, you know, bacteria can get in, etc., etc. So for me, that's always easy to remember that a 5 is acid.
Yeah, not your totally body is actually a 5. Your eyes example, for example, is 7. So that's why baby shampoo is on a pH level of 7. So it doesn't hurt your eyes, it doesn't itch, but it actually means that it dries out your hair and skin. Mm-hmm. So some clients think, oh, I use baby shampoo because that's the softest thing I can use, but it's actually not. It's only not itching your eyes. And
what is neutral, that's an important start, is 5.5.
Yeah. The 5.5 is actually the pH level of our infra shampoo. The color lock treatment was 3.5, so that means it closes the hair. For example, the purity shampoo of the Enviro is a pH level of 7, so that means it opens the hair, so the product can go in.
Yeah, so to open the hair you have to be above 5.5, or let's say 6, and if you want to close the cuticle you have to be lower than 5.
Yeah, correct. The color, for example, the CHI Ionic color, has an average pH level of 10. And the CHI color generator has a pH level of 4. So if you add those two, 10 and 4, normally when you divide it in two, it's 14, divided in two, it's 7. So a lot of people think that our color has a pH level of 7, but it's not. Patrick will explain.
Yeah, the mixing is not exactly the same how we learned it on school. It's a chemical type of mixing. And by the way, the pH of 4 for a color generator is for the 10, 20, 30 and 40 volume exactly the same. I tell you another story. Even if you mix 2 parts developer and 1 part color, our mixing ratio will stay around the 9.8.
Yeah.
So it's not that you mix it one by one and that you split it in the middle, but our pH, our working pH level is around the 9.8.
Yeah, so if you want to calculate your pH level of your color, you can do normal math. So you can say, okay, this is 10, this is 4, together it's 14, I divide it in 2, my color mixture is 7. No, normally with other products it can, but this is a chemical surface, and because it's a chemical treatment, chemical products, it works different. So the pH level will not drop in 2, no, it drops a little to a 9.5 max.
Convenience have never been so easy, and that has been our slogan for the last 25 years on the color market. If you compare the different products, the CHI Ionic Shine Shades has 72 bottles.
And the CHI Ionic Permanent Shine hair color, the tubes, have 95 boxes.
So there is a difference in inventory, 95 comparing to 72.
Yeah.
The developers, by the way, are exactly the same as well for the tubes. As our liquid colors, we use the 10, 20, 30 and 40 volume.
Yeah. If you look at the performance, we have some different shades in the line. If you go to the cream color, there is a double ash and an ultralight series.
Yeah, and if you go to the Ionic Shine Shades, we have an S series, which stands for silver, and we have a violet series with the V.
And a very special one.
And the special one is, we call it clear. Technically, it's like almost like a level 12, so it has a lot of pigment in it. It can give you a lift, but we also use it, and we'll see it later, for demi, semi-permanent colors, but also for adding extra shine.
And even as an ultra light blonde series, but we will explain it later. The color system. The permanent shine hair color is a 3-in-1 system, so it means permanent, semi-permanent and a high lift.
While the CHI Ionic Shine Shades have a permanent color, it is a demi-permanent color, a semi-permanent color, it's a toner and a treatment. And especially for the toner and treatment, I have to explain it a little bit, because the toning is a surface what you can do quickly behind the wash bowl. In a minimum of 7 minutes you can change a blonde to beautiful toning. And the treatment, of course, that's because we use all these rich ingredients in our products which are treating the hair during the color surface.
How to mix a permanent color in Shine Shades?
The basic formulation is 1:1. So that means we take 1 part color and we take 1 part developer. Important, if you take the developer, that we shake the bottle before we use it. There is a little difference between the mixing between the cream color and the liquid color. If you use multi-colors in the cream color, we advise you first to mix the cream together before you add the developer. With the liquids, it's not necessary because it's a liquid and a gel, so it really penetrates easy and mixes easy.
And it's already mixing into your bowl, and the cream color is a little different. You really need to mix the colors before you add the generator to make sure all the pigments are really mixed together.
For both lines, for gray coverage, we have a special gray coverage series. For minimum of 50% gray, and we cover 100% of gray. The mixing ratio for this is also 1:1, but always with 20 volume.
Yeah, And if you want to have if you need more gray coverage because the hair is thick or coarse or very closed, we have a lot of tips and tricks. For example, you can use a little bit more color than developer. For example, 1.5 part color with 1 part 20 volume. Some people prefer to wash the hair first, for example with a purity shampoo to open the hair a little, and we always advise to use low heat.
The mixing of the demi-permanent color. So in this case we take 1 part of the liquid shine hair color, we take 1 part clear, and we take 1 part of the 10 volume developer. This mixed together gives you a really beautiful demi-permanent color. Important in these demi-permanent colors, and that also depends on the texture of your hair and the porosity of the hair, the processing time is about 15 minutes. The clear, as you can see over here, the bottle, that's also mixed in 1 part. So 1 part desired color, 1 part clear, and 1 part 10 volume.
Yeah, and in our manual and on the color chart there is a method too for a demi-permanent color, and it is 2 parts color mixed together with 1 part developer. We advise that only for very thick and coarse hair, because if you do that recipe or formula on my hair,
or
it is
my
not
hair.
Or your hair, it's not a demi-permanent, but it is a permanent. So you have to watch out that one. Let's see, semi-permanent color. That is actually for both colors the same, for the liquid and the cream.
Yeah. For this we go back to our conditioner, and as you remember it has a pH of 3.5, the color lock treatment. In this case we take a part of our color, 1 part of the cream color or 1 part of the liquid color. We take 1 part 10 volume generator, and we take 1 part of our lock treatment.
Yep.
This mixed together gives you a beautiful recipe for a semi-permanent color, and this is what we use a lot for refreshing the mid-shaft and ends. For example, a client who comes back with a beautiful 6V or 6RV or a copper tone, and you like to refresh the ends, then this is the proper mixture. And what I really love with the lock treatment, that we give a mask and a treatment at the same time as we just deliver the pigments back in the hair.
Yeah, and what we do with adding the color lock treatment is we are not lowering the pH level, that stays the same, but we are lowering the volume of the developer. So it can be lowered by adding the color lock treatment to a level 7, volume 7.
Cool. How can we read our color chart or color book? Some companies are working with numbers. Let's say you have a 10.1, and that has of course an idea of a cooler tone. We work with letters, and the letter, for example the W, says you warm, comparing to numbers that's probably then somewhere 3 or 3.3. But we work, forget that part, we work with letters, which is very easy to understand for you as a stylist, but also for your client. And the client knows exactly what is a warm tone, or what is a red tone, or what's a red-brown tone, or what is a silver tone, or what is a neutral tone. So I'm really happy that we work with this system. So first of all, we have our target color, we have our level, and we have our tone, and that's how we read actually the color chart. If you see here the color chart here in the gray part, you can see the standard series, and the standard series goes from a neutral tone. We follow actually the color wheel, how we see the color wheel behind me. We go into more like the warmer tones, the red-brown tones, the copper tones, the red tones, all the way to the cooler tones, the violet and the silver ones. So that's actually how we work on the color wheel. And then on the far right side of me over here, we have the standard mixed gray coverage series, and beneath it we have our color additives.
We have the same additives in the cream color and in the liquid color. What our basic knowledge is, and also our fundamental knowledge, is the 4 easy steps for formulation.
Yeah, first of course it's important where you start with. So you have to determine the natural level of your starting point, and the natural level you can find here on this side on the end series. You can make sure that you really can read the hair what are you going to color. The second step is, of course, you do that in combination with your client, it's the level where you want to go. So for example, we starting level is level 6 and the client wants to go to a level 8, for example. Then it's important on this level 8 is what kind of tonality does she want. Does she want cooler? Does she want to go warmer? Maybe red, maybe silver? That's the next question. So the tonality. And of course, then it's important to find the right developer. For example, for one level of lift of depositing pigment, we use 10 volume. But for 2 levels of lift, we use 20 volume. For 30 levels of lift, we take, for 3 levels of lift, we take 30 volume. And that's how we calculate. And that's what we call the 4 easy steps to success.
Yeah, and you always have to keep in mind that you have to neutralize your start level, but also your end level. Let's talk about gray coverage. For more than 50% gray, we need a special series.
Yeah, what we did, we pre-mixed already for you to make it convenient, a pre-mixture of the 50 series, what we call the gray coverage series. And 50 stands for minimum 50% of gray hair. Before that, you can use our standard series. Let's go over the formulation and we give you 3 examples of formulations of the standard gray coverage series. Normally what we do, we take 1 part or the cream color or the ionic color, and you take a 50, let's say 5N. We mix it together with our 20 volume, 1 to 1. You shake it, you mix it together, and you apply it to the hair. Well, in some cases, you can recognize sometimes a type of hair that you think, well, that's tough hair, that's really coarse hair. How are we going to cover this without ammonia? And I tell you the secret, that's all possible. We can cover 100% gray, even with the dangerous ammonia. For that case, we give you a tip. Just use a little bit more color than developer. So let's say 1/2 part color, 1/2 part color, and just 1 part developer. It doesn't change your pH level. We explained that before. The pH stays the same, but you just add more pigment in the hair to soften the hair and to create more pigment inside of the hair. And the third option is in that mixture what you make of 1/2 part and 1 part developer, you add gold additive. And gold additive, we just take 1 cap if you use the Shine Shades, or maximum 5 centimeters if you use the cream color. And why the gold additive? The gold additive has a very small molecule and it can penetrate really deep in the hair. And if you technically take a look to white hair does not contain any yellow anymore, any red pigment or any blue pigments. And then from these 3 primary colors, the yellow is of course the strongest one and the one you're missing to build up the hair again. So that's why we add orange additive in the color.
And that's why there are also sometimes when people have difficulty to cover gray, is because the client wants to have a really cool tone. But the cool tones have blue pigments in it and that molecule is very big. So sometimes maybe it's better to neutralize than your tone or to use more color than developer or add of course an additive and use warm, low heat, for example. Not every salon has a hair zone, but you can cover with a plastic cap or a shower cap. And you can even wash the hair with a shampoo that opens the hair a little bit. For example, the Enviro, the Purity shampoo. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can use to cover gray.
Exactly.
We have a 50N series, and the 50N series you can mix with any tone. We have a warm series and we have a red series, and those 2 are already pre-mixed.
Let's talk about the CHI color additives in both of our lines, the cream color and in the liquid lines. And we have the same names in both of the lines, but the levels where we position them, and we just mentioned it already, they're different. So there will be, of course, a slight different end result. And when we take a look to the beige additive, the blue part, the beige one, we recommend you to use it on a level 6 to 10. I'm talking now about the liquid lines. The ash tone, it's wonderful, level 1 to level 10. You can add it in any level. Double ash additives, we recommend you level 1 to level 6. But I already gave you a little example just before that I sometimes use it a little bit in lighter tones too.
You can play with it.
To give a little bit extra dimension. The violet, the blue, the gold, the orange and the red in the liquid series, they're all leveled on a level 7. So you can position them in all the different levels. And that's where the difference is in cream color.
Yeah. The level of blue in the cream color, for example, is darker. It's around 4 or 5. So it means if you want to neutralize an orange tone, for example, I'm a level 8G, I want my hair blonde. So already the underlying pigment is orange. Then I'm going to lift, so more warmth is coming out. So I actually need not only violet, but also blue. In the cream color, my hair will stay too dark. But in the shine shades, it's perfect because it's a level 7, so it will not make my hair any darker.
Yeah, additives, I love to work with them. They give me, as a hairdresser, more creativity. And like I always say to my staff in the salon, you know, one color is never be the same as the next color. And play with it, work with it. You're the artist, you're the one who has that creative mind, and use these additives to personalize each and every color.
Yeah, so the additives can be used to neutralize a color, but also to intensify a color. A very special color in the CHI Shine Shades liquid color is clear, and we both love that one. It's actually the same as a 12N, so it means it's the unpigmented version of a Shine Shades color.
Yeah, and I really love this color. I know that the Philippines or Far East is looking to this webinar, and they see me working with this product earlier this year live in the countries. Because yes, there is a difference. We do not have an ultralight series in the liquid comparing to the cream color. But with our clear color, it's magic. You can play with it. Clear and additives. And for example, 30 volume, 40 volume, or mixing ratios 1 to 2, you can use it really as a high lift blonde, ultralight blonde.
So you can use the clear in a demi color to dilute the pigment, for example, of a color. When you add clear, you dilute this pigment, but you can also use it as a standalone with additives. To make the most beautiful toners or make a high lift color.
Yeah, so clear is magic. Can you work for all different ways. Behind the wash bowl, to make that quick toning for the client, we just had highlights and just want to have a cooler end result. For example, with a 9S and clear, you mix it together 7 minutes, 1 cup of coffee, and the client has beautiful, cool blonde highlights. But actually also for the high lift, like we show in the Far East.
Yeah. It's perfect. I always use it to color my hair. Clear, 11A, add some violet and some blue, and perfect blonde. So how exactly do you have to mix the clear to make it a permanent or demi or semi color?
Yeah, let's first take a look to the ultralight series. So ultralight with our cream color, you mix 2 parts developer 40 volume and 1 part cream color. If you compare that to our liquids, we're going to take the clear but mixing exactly the same. You mix 1 part clear, 2 part developer, 40 volume.
Yeah, and then of course you can add the additives that you like to neutralize or to intensify the color.
Yeah, Esther said something really important before, because if you are lifting the hair, you have a starting level, but you have a starting tonality and you have an end tonality. So let's start, if you, let's say, start at the level 6, the dominant underlaying pigment is orange. And what do you have to do if you want to neutralize orange? We go to our color wheel and you see that we have to take blue. So what you do on the mixture of clear, you're going to add 1 cap of blue. But then the second question is, okay, if you go to that level 10, and you want to end up in a 10, let's say yellow, warm, what kind of tonality do we have to add then? We take the violet into it. So then we need to add blue and we need violet in that mixture of clear. So you neutralize the starting tonality and you neutralize your end tonality.
Yeah, and this is the mistake that happens the most of the time when people ask me like, I didn't get the tone I liked, when I lifted the color it was still warm, and then I say, okay, what kind of additive did you use? And sometimes they think, well, I just took an 11A and they thought that's enough, but it's not. You always have to neutralize your start and your end level. But let's go back to the clear.
Okay, so using clear as a permanent color, we use 1 part clear. We take 1 part our color, for example, this is the 6V, so 1 part and 1 part, so that means I need 2 parts of developer, either 10, 20, 30 or 40 volume.
And what you do exactly is you dilute the pigments and you add shine.
That's it, that's it. Then the third one actually is the demi-permanent color. And we mix the demi-permanent color with 1 part clear, 1 part color and 1 part generator. So that's the big difference between the demi color and the permanent color. The permanent color you take 2 parts developer, and for the demi color you need only 1 part developer.
So it means that the more color dilutes the power of the developer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And the processing time is also adjusted.
Yeah.
Because normally processing time, high lift is of course 45 minutes, but normally gray coverage, normal standard series is about 35 minutes. But for the demi and semi-permanent color, maximum of 15 minutes.
It's enough.
So, and the semi-permanent color, there is the interesting lock treatment again. So in that case we have 1 part clear, we have 1 part of our color, we have 1 part of our 10 volume, and we have 1 part of our lock treatment. This all together gives you a beautiful semi-permanent treatment and toner at the same time.
Yeah, and the semi-permanent color, you always use the ChI Color Generator 10 volume, and because you add the color lock treatment, you lower that level to volume 7. Okay, so the most questions we got actually is about neutralizing. And when you lift color, you have to neutralize your start level and your end level. So for example, an easy example, if we want to go from a 4N to a 6N. A 4N has a dominant pigment of red-violet, but when you lift it, the underlying exposing pigment is red. And to neutralize the red, we need a double ash liquid additive. Yeah. The end level needs to be a 6N. The underlying pigment when you lift is orange. And to neutralize the orange, you need blue. So we want to avoid a warm color. So the recipe could be a 6A together with 30 volume, and we add 5% blue and 5% double ash. And now we hear people think, we go from a 4 to a 6, and she says 30 volume.
Yeah, it's a matter of the way you calculate. If you go from a 4 to a 6, you can say 5 and 6, that's only 2 levels, that's 20 volume. But technically, every level, so 4, a 5, a 6, but also 7 and 8, has a light shade, a medium shade and a dark shade. So imagine now that we are on a 4 dark, we have to go through 4 to reach 5. We have to go through 5 to reach 6. So that means 3 levels of lift, and that's why we use 30 volume.
Yeah. And that's also a lot of time people only calculated the levels in between, but it is very important you go through every level. So from a 4N to a 6N, you have to go through level 4, 5 and 6. So ChI Color Generator 30 volume.
And the color wheel here behind me, that's technically our Bible. It's for all the colors what we do. So make sure you have it always within in your kitchen, or I have it in the back of my salon, always reminds you, oh yeah, quickly take a look, oh yeah, the client comes in, she has a little bit of brown hair, level 6, okay, so the dominant pigment is orange, so what do I need? Orange to neutralize, okay, that's the blue, so you add a little bit blue. So that's always to remember and recognize where you want to go. It helps me a lot in creative coloring.
Yeah, and also when you when you print a color wheel and you put it in a bag or where you mix your color, and it's there all the time, you know, you get your practice every day, and you can be creative if you understand all those levels of tones. Okay, another important thing, of course, is the processing time of the color, because every kind of color has its own processing time. So the processing time, for example, for the permanent color, we advise 15 minutes low heat. Of course, the most perfect will be with the CHI hairs on, of course, here it is. Otherwise, put a plastic or a shower cap, and 15 minutes room temperature, 30 minutes in total. And if the hair is very close, thick or coarse, then you can add another 15 minutes.
Yeah, the benefit of the CHI hairs on is that you have a constant temperature, low heat temperature. You can adjust if you have short hair or longer hair, and there is a sensor here in the middle that makes sure that on all the effective areas where you put the heat, that it's very consistent. So when automatically a door opens or when air conditioning turns on, it keeps the temperature of processing time exactly the same.
Color, yeah.
It's very convenient for a client to sit underneath it. It gives you the open space, and it automatically turns on and off, so it's easy to work with.
Yeah. We also prefer to use the CHI hairs on, of course, with gray coverage. The processing time of the gray coverage series is also 15 minutes with low heat, and then 20 minutes room temperature. Preferred actually totally 45 minutes.
Yeah, it all depends on how you work in the salon, but what I'd like to do is do a client in between. So you add the gray coverage to your client, in between you do another client, you do a haircut or blow dry, and that's exactly the same time as the processing time. Yeah. So minimum 35, but we say recommend 45.
Yeah. Then the processing time of the demi and the semi. The demi and the semi, we actually advise 15 minutes, but the semi you can do at the shampoo bowl, and already in 7 minutes we have the perfect toner.
Yeah, 7 minutes, that's what we need at Farouk Systems as time-wise to develop the pigments, and that's also what you see. You can put your clock on it, it's actually 7 minutes. You see, the moment you put that toner on the highlight, let's say a 9S and a 10B, the moment you put that on the highlights, you see that the highlights are toning, but the natural level is not effective. And that's also one of the benefits. If you use ammonia, for example, it's an explosion, and what you see is the hair, what you did not highlight, will lift. Well, in this case, when you use it for just the 7 minutes, it actually tones the highlighted area, but it does not affect the natural hair.
Yeah, and that is a perfect feature of our ammonia-free color.
How do we prepare the hair? So what is the service, what we do before the hair color? Well, one of the products we advise you is to use the CHI Keratin Mist. There's a low pH of 4.5, and it's a leave-in, what is a strengthening treatment while you process the hair. So for weakened hair, just use the keratin mist. But even in between the surfaces, for example for foiling techniques, you can use the keratin mist to avoid any damage on the pre-lighted areas. It creates an even canvas, so it closes the cuticle at the same time, and the keratin of the silk is filling in the gaps in the hair.
Yeah. And of course we have a beautiful new product, and I really am in love with this one. And that is the CHI Bond and Seal. And what this does actually is it lowers the pH in the color, but it also reconstructs the hair. And if you read the ingredients, and I'm kind of an ingredient addict, I'm always reading immediately what kind of ingredients a product contains. And for example, it contains aspergillus ferment, and that is actually a fermented mold that is very, very popular in Korea because it's put in skincare. So it's really skin conditioning and also protecting your scalp. And next to that, the bond builder is arginine. And arginine is an amino acid that you can find in nuts and seeds. For example, pumpkin seeds, that is now the right season, has a lot of this ingredient, arginine, in it. And what it can do is it can enter the hair fiber, and that's why it's so special. It can enter the hair fiber and reconstruct the hair. And of course, keratin fills in the gaps, but this product works a little bit different. And also the low pH, 3.2, make sure that the pH level of your color mixture is lowered. So yeah, perfect.
And the hemp oil.
Hemp oil, yes, of course. Yeah, we can talk for hours. Yeah, hemp
it's not
oil,
that because we're in Amsterdam, but
no,
it contains hemp oil.
Hemp oil makes sure that the hair will not break. And of course, the aloe vera in the product, it attracts moisture and it locks in moisture.
And the omega-3, 6 and 9.
Yeah.
You can find them in hemp oil.
Yeah, the hemp oil has a lot of fatty acids and omega-3, 6 and 9. And that makes sure that the hair stays strong and will not break. Yeah.
Wow, it's a lot of information during this webinar about our wonderful line, and we can talk for hours and hours, and believe me, we will do in future editions. But this is the basic information, what makes us so happy every day, and this answers a lot of your questions what we get during the week and during the month from all around the world. And I hope this also answered some of your questions. What is the difference between the cream color, the Ionic cream color, and the Ionic liquid shine hair color? They're both great lines. They can make you a creative hairdresser. They both have the possibility of lifting hair in gray coverage and making the most beautiful shiny hair colors with a treatment and toner in one.
Yeah.
So I hope you're convinced.
We have stylists that say I use them both on one client. We have stylists that say we use the cream color on the roots area, maybe to cover gray, or make a very nice color at the roots, and then use the shine shades because it's a different liquid consistency. It's a gel. We use it to blend colors in the length and ends. So the combination of these two are perfect. It's easy. You can mix it. You can use it on one client. You can do everything actually with it. So yeah, we have the best color.
That's for sure. Okay, my name is Patrick Kalle and wish you a wonderful day and stay safe.
My name is Esther Hopstake, and we are looking forward to our next webinars that we can share with you, and yeah, more to follow.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.